Now for the latest in national security, Lincoln Parker joins me as he does every week. Great to see you, as always. Last week we spoke about the Australian government's plan to use birds against killer drones.
Yeah.
We've made some progress since then, Link.
Well, I guess if you want to call spending $400 million on 3 drones progress, then yes. So it was announced just recently that Prime Minister Albanese is going to spend $400 million on 3 drones. So we get 3 offensive drones, which I guess is better than 0. You're probably seeing these on the screen now. This is called the Ghost Bat. It used to be known as Loyal Wingman. It's manufactured by Boeing. And yes, it is an awesome platform if you've got an unlimited budget. But we've seen and we understand how conflict happens now. We've seen it from Yemen with the Houthis using cobbled together lots of swarms of drones that are very effective. We've seen it in the Israel-Gaza war. We've seen China developing many, many drones. And so why isn't Australia looking at doing the small, the many and the advanced and the cheap, as opposed to spending $400 million on exquisite systems and only getting 3 for them?
Isn't it Australian companies that have developed some of the most advanced technology when it comes to defensive drones or attacking drones? I'm not sure which one, but they're supplying the rest of the world and we have none.
That's exactly right. It was also revealed today that one of Sydney's own homegrown defence industry companies called Drone Shield only got about 100 million or so. And this is really one of the first times that Defence has thrown them anything. They've exported to more than 100 countries around the world, yet we've really neglected our own defence industry. And I think the Prime Minister Albanese and particularly his Minister for Defence, Richard Marles, have a lot to answer for.
Yeah, no, Marles is demanding excellence, remember? We'll wait and see. Talk to me about the PNG Prime Minister in the country this week. How relevant is that?
Well, it's super relevant, Erin. OK, so it was good that the Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea came down to Canberra and he addressed a joint sitting of Parliament and he said, OK, I guess Australia is our security partner of choice. But he also said, and this wasn't reported in mainstream media, that he said that China offers huge commercial opportunities and we're going to take them. Now, we've seen this story before. We saw it exactly with the Solomon Islands. We are the Solomon Islands' largest aid donor, and we used to be their security choice. But now we've seen that Solomon Islands is essentially a proxy of China. So how is this any different?
One by one, they're dropping off. They're changing their allegiance.
They are. So I'm not sure that the Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Penny Wong, I think they're a disaster in defence policy, foreign policy, and they're just making our country less safe.
Well, speaking of China, I think they're in the process of building 700 nearly coal-fired power stations.
Yeah.
We're sitting here eating our takeaway with bamboo forks. Like, seriously.
Yeah. So China is building 655 new additional coal-fired power plants. This is in addition to the over 1,100 coal-fired power plants that they already have. Now, to put that into some perspective for Australians, we only have about 24 coal-fired power plants and we're shutting them down. So what Prime Minister Albanese and the Labor Party doing in conjunction with the Greens and the Teals is jacking up electricity prices, jacking up the cost of living and offshoring our jobs to China. And we're not making anything here anymore, which is a massive national security risk.
But it's making a huge difference. To climate change and global warming link.
All it is doing is
sarcasm for anyone who doesn't.
It's passing the buck. It's passing the buck and making Labor Party and the Teals and the Greens are in partnership on this, make them feel better and so that they can go home and sip their champagne. But all it is doing is killing the Australian worker. And the Labor Party is supposed to stand up for the worker.
They are.
But they're killing the Australian worker.
Lincoln, brilliant as always. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Erin.